The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café.
Welcome to this episode of Pit Life BBQ. Gather round the pit with your hosts, Johnny Maggs and Greg the Barbecue Broker DiGiorgio. Let's talk barbecue.
What's up, Am I on? It's not just doesn't sound right. There we go.
Oh, hi.
What's up, everybody? Coming to you live from the Studio 21 Podcast Café in Salem, New Hampshire. It's the Pit Life BBQ podcast where we talk everything barbecue and a lot of other topics that you normally talk around the pit.
Yep.
As always, I'm joined by the barbecue broker.
Yeah, dog. What's up?
Hi, homie.
What's up, my man?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Gray, what's happening?
Good times.
Oh.
So, exciting week last week. Joe got his pit.
Joe got his pit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is badass.
It's a beautiful blue.
Mm-hmm.
That blue is nasty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Runs and purrs like a kitten. We got that thing fired up nice. Just a simple charcoal, just a chimney and two small logs to get it going. And one log every half hour after that, basically.
That's right. Ben Ross, what's happening? Speaking of, Mr. Newland, how are you?
Hey, Ryan.
Uncle Steve.
Dutchie. What's up, Uncle Stevie? Yeah, we had a good time. Me and Uncle Steve. We did he took me around late night once. I was walking around random tents in Houston, showing me these badass tents with VIP areas and stages, and that's one smooth cat right there.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Schmitty, what's happening? John.
TBC in the house.
Big Rome, K, your brother Randy, Mike C.
What's up, boys?
They're all coming out today.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what do you say we get rolling here?
I say we get rolling. Today's episode brought to you by everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Steve Shake. If you ever wonder why no one's coming to your barbecues, but they're going to Chrissy's, because Chrissy's using Uncle Steve Shake, and apparently you're not. Which means one thing, Chrissy.
You better get you some.
Damn straight. Uncle Steve Shake is handmade, uses only the finest ingredients, and comes in 12 amazing flavors, including that dessert shake. Delicious.
Don't forget.
What?
The new sauce with no name.
The new sauce with no name.
Extremely limited batches. Let me say that first and foremost.
It's on the website right now.
It is on the website.
Yep.
Extremely small batches, so it's going to be so
It's
when
smooth.
he gets around to making it, he gets around to making it.
I mean,
So if you have
compliments,
any
if
here.
it compliments to Rob, they just go nicely together. Bottom line, if you can eat it, Uncle Steve has a shake for it. And if you have any shake questions, Uncle Steve has fantastic customer service. I'll walk you through all your shake needs. It's time to take your backyard and competition to that next level at Uncle Steve Shake. Shake some on everything, my man.
Everything.
Today's nice.
Everything.
Everything. This episode also brought to you by
Two Guys Smoke Shop and twoguyscigars.com. Whether we are barbecuing or not, we always keep the smoke rolling thanks to our friends at twoguyscigars.com. Today we are smoking the Perdomo 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
Gordo.
The Gordo 60 gauge.
Delicious.
Beautiful.
Big dogger.
Yeah.
Thanks to our friends at twoguyscigars.com. We get to smoke some of the best cigars in the world, and so can you. Just visit twoguyscigars.com for your perfect barbecue companion.
Yep.
That's the number 2guyscigars.com. And we are also brought to you by
Backline Fabrication, Backline Smokers out of Austin, Texas, Mr. Ryan Newland. Putting out some of the best one-off custom smokers I've ever laid eyes on. Offset, we're looking for a catering pit, 500-gallon, comp pit, live fire devices. I mean, this guy is throwing down. No two pits look the same. Possibilities are endless. And he puts his heart and soul into everything. It's a one-man shop. Every square inch fabricated by Ryan, welded by Ryan. You just don't get that with some of the big guys out there. So check him out. Backline Fabrication and Smokers out of Austin, Texas. Also brought to you by one of our newest members to the family.
Magnus Chef Gloves, which I completely dropped the friggin' ball today.
Totally forgot my gloves as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just you.
Woke up this morning to no power, and then got to work and realized I didn't have my backpack, and which has all the gloves in it. So
Oh, don't worry. I'll call the barbecue broker and
I'll
have
call
him
the
bring.
barbecue broker, and he'll hook it up, bring his pair.
But I
Oh yeah,
forgot
I
to.
got it, dog. Yep. Okay.
God, I
Anywho,
did say that.
Magnus chef gloves, guys. Al knows a little something about fire management. He's a Miami-Dade firefighter. He has designed these gloves for form, function, all that.
500 degrees.
Up to 500 degrees these he can handle. Magnetic clips for easy on and off. Dishwasher safe. 100% food grade silicone.
Yep.
And most importantly,
America.
made right here in the USA.
You got it. America.
You know, so head to magnuschef.com. That's MAGNECHEF.com.
Yep.
Order yourself a pair or two or three. Keep one in your barbecue trailer, one for the backyard, one for the kitchen, all the time.
Promo code.
Promo code, thank you, Christy,
Ding dong.
Royal21 at checkout. Gets you
15% off.
15% off. That is Royal21.
Yeah.
And
And-
also,
Our actual very, very newest member of the
a
family.
very newest member, Custom Cutting Boards are us.com. Our buddy Ian Hemming out of Magnolia,
Magnolia.
Texas,
Yes, sir.
is making some of the best, toughest, wildest cutting boards on the market today. These boards take me. I've had mine for almost 4 years now, and it is still perfect. You have the dishwasher board, so your standard countertop size.
Yep.
The massive brisket
board.
board, 36 by 18.
Which I got the black with the red grooves engraved, custom engraved.
Get custom engraving available.
Huge.
I got the white one. It is.
Laser cut.
It's
It's
incredible.
Awesome. Yep.
The rubber disc on the bottom,
Yeah.
so no slip,
You don't have to
nothing.
throw rubber
The little
gloves or a
went
wet
in
cloth
there.
under there anymore. It just
Yeah.
stays where it is.
Then the new pizza board.
It's magic.
I got to get one of these.
Oh,
It's awesome.
Absolutely.
My,
Absolutely.
my daughter loves it because she knows exactly
Where to cut.
where to cut, and she
And it
cuts
gives you a
the
nice
perfect
groove
slices every
and-
time.
Every time.
Absolutely. So check them out at customcuttingboardsrus.com. That is the letter R, us.com.
Great new website, by the way.
Yes. Yes,
new
yes,
website.
yes.
So we're coming full circle to this whole Houston thing.
No, we're actually coming full circle to about 2 or 3 weeks before the Houston thing.
Right, and then
That's when this was booked.
And then-
and lo and behold, he goes and pulls what he did down there in Houston.
and I met him
Yes, let me throw a little salt and pepper on the fire.
when I first met CJ, and Ken introduced us, and he's like, yeah, you're on the podcast in a couple weeks, so I guess John already booked you, whatever. And you're like, yeah, that's cool. He says, like, oh, you know, if I get a walk, we'll have something interesting to talk about. Oh boy, did he get a walk?
Yeah, you can say this. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to speak with this gentleman today. Great guy, true gentleman in all aspects of the word. From Mama and Papa Joe's barbecue, Papa Joe himself, the one and only Mr. Clarence Joseph. What's up, CJ?
What's up, dude?
What's happening, fellas? How are y'all doing this evening, man?
Oh,
It's an absolute pleasure. I'm honored that you guys extended this invite. And like you said, coincidentally, this invite was extended, I don't know, 10 or so days before Houston, man. Great to be here.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Now, obviously, we're going to get into all that beautiful hardware that and banners behind you. But first and foremost, a question we always start out with. So, who is Clarence Joseph, and how did your barbecue journey begin?
Wow. Clarence Joseph is man, I'm a husband foremost, retired military, beautiful wife of 36 years, Mama Joe Alicia. we met way back in college, man. And you know, it was one of those things. I'd already been, I'd already found a love for barbecue. I definitely wasn't doing it at the level I'm currently doing it, but you know, I was still kicking things around in the backyard, whether it be boiling ribs or whatever the case might be. Yeah, so those seeds were already planted, and as time moved along, you know, joined the military. I did 21 plus years, man, traveled the world. Uh, Retired from the military in '06. And mom and I came back to San Antonio. And I worked for the military teaching in the officer basic course right here at Fort Sam Houston. Okay. But found myself doing pretty much what I was doing on active duty. You know, some of the things that led me to retire. And I gave that up after about a year and a half, almost 2 years of doing that. And went into I've always just had a love for instructing, coaching, teaching, training. And I went ahead and secured my teaching certificate, and I started teaching U.S. history in the public school system. Really loved that. But around that same time, I watched my first episode of Pit Masters. And this was 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw my first episode of Pit Master. A buddy and I sat down together and watched that. And immediately, you know, we both kind of had the same feeling. This was something we could get into. You know, and I often tell people it's a lot, I'm not going to say safer. It's a lot more comfortable getting into a competition game with a partner. Mm-hmm. You know, you can share responsibilities, you can share costs until that point comes when you two decide you're going to go your separate ways. And my buddy and I, man, we kicked things around, and we competed from 2010 till the end of 2011. So 2 years. And at that point, we had both gotten our feet wet. We were on fairly firm ground in terms of the comp circuit. And we went our separate ways. And that was the start. 2012 was the start of Mama and Papa Joe. You know, man, it has been a ride that I never imagined. You know, some of the things that barbecue has allowed Mom and I to do and see and to be a part of is just something absolutely special.
Absolutely. And then, you know, then the people you meet, you know, and the relationships you build from it, you know, it's
such a welcoming.
It's a beautiful
family. You know what I mean? The barbecue family, very welcoming.
You know, that is often never mentioned, man. You know, out there at an event, while you may be competitors, if my neighbor is lacking something they need to complete their day, you know, if I've got it, they've got it, and vice versa.
Yep.
Even though we're competitors, man, if he needs something and I have it, he's got it, and vice versa. So it's an absolute family. And you know, I often tell people, I said, I never imagined, but 95% of my contact, my daily communications, my daily interactions have to do with barbecue folks.
Yeah.
You know, man, where that came from. And it takes me back to after I retired from the military, and all my buddies still on active duty, as they started to transition to other duty stations, you know, I found myself lacking that group of guys that all of us have to hang out with. You know, the cigar parties, the dominoes, the fantasy football. I mean, all that. My boys just disappeared, man, and I was looking for something to fill that void, that hole that I had. And barbecue, man, it was a blessing that I never knew would turn into a real blessing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are today, man.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Let's see.
I kind of felt that same way, you know, like all my buddies I grew up with from your hometown, and, you know, you're hanging out, and some buddies from college. Everyone starts having kids. Next thing you know, you're barely seeing your buddies, and then you start hanging out with the people in your town, and your kids, friends, parents, and yada yada. But then you find yourself getting away, and for me that was, and for you even, that was barbecue was like my sanctuary, and I was doing that, and thank God I found my Chris and Kevin and you, and I wouldn't have found you without the whole New England Pitmaster group, and that brought us all together, and that allowed, I feel, me to do what I love on the weekends, but don't have to be alone. and hang out with your boys. Everyone's doing what they love. We're getting barbecue therapy together because you're spending 8, 10, 12 hours together, sometimes pulling over, doing overnighters, and you love it. And I was feeling I was missing something, even though I still had my hometown buddies and I could still talk to them and stuff. I was missing something, And barbecue filled that too, because I too, same as us, we watched the BBQ Pitmasters. Mine was probably around 2011, 2012 when I started watching it, and that that kicked the fire under my ass,
Yeah,
I bet I can do this.
I'm like, wait, I'm doing this right now. As I'm using my electric Brinkman, sitting at 225 with the heat rod on the ceramic rocks on the bottom, throwing in chunks of oak like this and hickory and mesquite, and just white smoke billowing out. I'm like, I could do that. Yeah.
Let's see here. We got Eric. What's happening? Junior, Marty. Joe, what's happening? Eric,
Junior,
Mac. We get that the boys are coming in strong.
Junior flexing his hat, the barbecue broker hat got the other day. Yeah.
So with as far as the competitions go, CJ, there's trials, tribulations, successes and errors on every aspect of it. What were a couple? Did you got a funny story like your first couple competitions of something you did that you thought you were doing right and wound up doing completely wrong?
But man, one of my favorite stories has to do with our very first competition, and it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't anything really shocking, but just the fact that your first competition. You think you're a serious backyard cook, and we were just looking for something, just a hint of evidence that we would be able to do this, compete with these guys. We show up, and I had scouted the IBCA calendar, and we were looking for a smaller cook-off to be our first in 2010. And we picked one based on the previous year's history. The previous year had 30 teams. And I was like, all right, that's small enough. We go out there, we had a Weber kettle, a WSM, and a little $25 Aussie grill. Mm-hmm. Well, we get out there, man, and we see the massive trailers, the submarine type offset pits, and I'm like, wow, and I'm a little bit shook. Mm-hmm. So I'm the first to arrive at that event. My buddy doesn't show up for maybe another 5, 6, 7 hours. It's getting late that Friday, and I have to start prepping. And the one and only time I prepped out on site, man, at a cook-off is that first time. I didn't know any better.
We know the
summertime, flies everywhere. It was a hot mess.
Yep.
We make it through Friday. We get to cooking Saturday. Again, just don't know any better. I picked up like a 2-pound flat, brisket flat, and a full packer. Throughout the cook, things aren't going very well. We managed a decent looking rib. Just before turn-in, man, the brisket packer isn't anywhere near finished. We've got that little flat We throw it on the Aussie grill. We get some color on each side. You know, we slice it up, put it in the box. I look back at some pictures from that cook-off, that very first cook-off, and compare to what I turned in today, man, and there's no comparison. It's ridiculous. You know, it was pure comedy.
Yeah.
It was pure comedy. But to get to the point that I'm making, I cut off the wingtip. I didn't know any better. I think our chicken got DQ'd. Back then, you had to have wingtips. You know, I always cut off wingtips at home.
Yeah.
So I just did that first cook off. So I think our chicken got DQ'd for no wingtip. We get to ribs, and lo and behold, man, we get called for a 6th place rib. Okay. My buddy, my partner, is kind of reserved. You know, he doesn't want to come up. And this turned out to be a huge cook-off. There were like 70-odd teams, man. A ridiculous amount of people at the awards ceremony, a huge stage that you had to go up to. And they get called for a 6th place. We get called for a 6th place rib. And I am losing my mind. I'm hooping and hollering. If I could do flips, I've been flipping all the way to the stage, man. You know, and I know people are looking at me, this big ball guy. What the heck is he so happy about a 6th place call, you know? But they just didn't understand. I was just looking for just a little bit of encouragement, man, that we could compete with some of these guys. My partner doesn't even go to the stage with me. He makes me go up there alone. He's so reserved, you know, he's so chill. So they get the call in ribs, and what do you know? We get a 9th place rib call. Our ribs our brisket, man, had to be about 3 inches in width. I look at those pictures today in the box. They look so lonely, but I don't know. They got a 9th place call. And I couldn't have been any happier. You know, I could not have been any happier. And at that point, I really felt like this is going to be a lot easier than I thought. I said, if we're getting 2 walks in our first one, it's only going to get better. And needless to say, we probably went another 8 cook-offs without a walk.
Yeah.
You know.
But you caught the bug. You caught the bug, though.
Those are the good and the bad of your first cook-off, man. You get that false sense of accomplishment real quick, but cook-offs are quick to bring you back to earth.
It's really no different than golf. I mean, you're you're slicing, dicing, and next thing you know, you hit that bomb.
That one shot that brings you back.
Bomb. It's like a 350-yard hole. You just hit 335. You're on in 2. Screw up the rest.
I'm never playing this game. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Hold on here.
And then you feel great, and then you freaking 6-putt in on the green. You're like, what the hell? Double bogey. He goes on in 2. You know.
So what year was that first competition?
2012?
That first comp was 2010.
Oh, 2010. Oh, 2010.
That first comp was 2010.
Before
and my buddy and I continued to cook, man, that year. And, you know, we got those 2 walks, but, man, we did not realize how far we were away from competing with these guys that have been doing this a while. Yeah. These guys that were being successful. You know, we didn't come anywhere close to winning an event that year. We managed a few other walks, but we didn't come close to winning an event that first year. Our second year, we were at an event in Houston, and that Friday, man, we just walking around, enjoying, meeting people, and we ran up on a Mexican team that were partying big time. You know, the cooks were trashed, but they had food set out, and they were like, go ahead, man, eat. And I remember sampling their brisket. And this was a brisket that they cooked to feed the public. or to entertain their guests. And I was like, wow. I mean, I remember being blown away. And these guys, you know, they were oiled up. Their lips were loose. And we just got to talking. And I was like, man, what do you do with this brisket? And they started explaining, you know, where their slices came from, what part of the brisket, this, that, the other. And I realized my buddy and I, man, we were so into the symmetrical slices, the beautiful slices. We never bothered to think about turning in anything from the point. So we were turning in just flat, trying to get those pretty slices. So that Saturday, we went ahead and did our cook, man, and we adjusted where our slices came from. And what do you know? We had a second place brisket and our first grand championship that Saturday.
Wow.
And I tell this story, you know, as sort of advice for new cooks, that as you get to a cook-off, man, don't be afraid to walk around and talk to some of the more experienced cooks. Don't be afraid to stop in. You know, as long as you're not interrupting or stopping in when they're in the middle of something. 99% of cooks out there, man, are willing to sit down, share, answer questions, give you advice. So don't be afraid to take that time Friday to move around and meet some guys. You can get some quality information. Most cooks are going to give you the best information that they have.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. You know, and, you know, that wasn't, you know, when we had talked to Cosmo, he goes, you know, that wasn't how it was in the early days. You know, no one would tell you nothing, but, you know, it started opening up and, you know, and it's the old, okay, here's all my tricks. Good luck. You still got to beat me with them.
Still got to do it.
You know, you still got to pull it off, you know, when it comes right down to it. You know, and you got a little secret here and a little secret here, but, you know.
And that's where my instructing comes in, you know, because lots of times people are saying, man, you're not giving these students exactly what you're doing, man. I said, man, if I want these students to go out there and tell somebody else about our class, I've got to give them the best that I got. I've got to wow them at that class. When they're eating those products that we cook in the class, they've got to walk away saying, wow, I can see why they've been successful, you know, because I want them to go out there and tell a friend. And then those students have got to turn around using that info that I gave them, that technique, and then start doing well up in their comp game, word of mouth. So I can't afford to hold anything back, man. And if anybody out there has watched any of our competition videos that we put on YouTube free of charge, it is awesome content. We can't go to a cook-off now without somebody coming up telling us how much they've learned from our videos, how much our videos have helped them out. And this is free content, man, that I just feel that, you know, at this point in our cook-off career or cook-off journey, that man, I am going to give back. When I'm done with this, when we're done with this game completely, and I don't know if there'll ever be a completely. Yeah. You know, we might step back at some point, but I don't think we'll ever be gone completely. But I want people to be able to say, man, CJ really, really did something to help cooks.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
We learn a lot of things on a daily basis, but applying what we learn sometimes is not always the case.
Yeah.
You don't always apply. I mean, I've learned so many different things in my real estate barbecue career, different things. You either sometimes apply them, sometimes you don't. And just because you apply them doesn't mean you're going to apply them the same way that guy did.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
You're applying that.
Exactly.
You're applying it but from a different angle, from a different view.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be the same. But you're not you know, what you said to your point before, you know, you're not afraid to tell people you know, things or tricks or give them advice, or at a competition someone's injector breaks or this or that, you know, you're like, here, you know, use this, you know. You want to beat them, but you want to beat them at their best. And not only that, but it's expensive, and you know it's expensive to come all that way to have your injector break or to be short on something. You know, you just can't help feel bad for that person, because at the end of the day, you're all barbecue family. And you want to
Yes,
beat, like
sir.
you want
Yes,
to beat
sir.
them at your
Yeah.
best. You want to beat them at your best. You
Hey,
know?
Lance, what's happening? Oh, the dog father, Brother Alton.
Hell yeah! What's up, brother? Last year we did our first New England Pit Masters barbecue. Kevin, Chris, and I, C-Mac. We did our first KCBS competition. 30 teams, and everybody knew we were the brand new team. Like everybody. The lights were on us. We had the biggest smoker there, too big, 500-gallon. My catering pit, we towed that monster in, and everyone laughed like, yeah, it's a cool pit, but it's way too big for competition. We're like, I know, but it's just all we kind of had to bring at the moment. But everyone was coming over, offering their help. Come over to our tent if you want me to show you how to, trim the pork butt. All these different things, all the different tips, willing to help because we needed it. We didn't know. We still don't know jack shit, but we're playing, and we're going to do our best. But we learned so much from that one competition and from everyone coming over and helping. It was humbling as hell, I'll tell you that.
Oh, for sure.
That's family right there, man. That's barbecue family. San Antonio Rodeo, couple of 3 weeks, or end of January. Huge cook-off, very competitive cook-off. I'm walking around Friday, and Quality Cook, he invites me into his trailer as he's doing his prep. And I go into the trailer. He's got a beautiful brisket already trimmed, awaiting injecting. And I just noticed something on the brisket that I was like, oh, man, if he made this adjustment, he could get slices from so much better an area. And I don't ever want to come across as a know-it-all or my way is the best way. And I say, man, can I show you something? Can I tell you something? And he was more than receptive. Long story short, I made a couple of adjustments to his brisket trim, and Duke, 300 teams, his brisket finished so far up there, it allowed him to finish in the top 10.
Beautiful.
Right? And he learned something that I know to this date he's going to continue trimming his brisket in that manner.
Yeah.
So even though again I was competing against that young man, I had no problem, giving him the best advice that I could give him at that particular time. His brisket beat my brisket. Yeah.
Hey. Yeah. And
Wow.
the fact of the San Antonio, you kind of earned the right of knowing a little something about the San Antonio livestock rodeo barbecue comp of I know 2020, and if I'm not mistaken, also 2015, if I'm not mistaken, both years grand champion of the San Antonio.
Wow. Yeah. Was it that first place brisket in 2020?
Yes, first place brisket got us the
And then
the GC after a fifth place rib call.
that was it. Fifth place ribs. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a badass win right there.
Dude,
That's like a trifecta. You got you got a call for the ribs, you got a win for the brisket, and you got a grand.
Grand.
Whew. Damn. So this RGC was just like,
Oh, no. This
What?
this RGC
yeah.
has if I'm not, after listening to CJ's live he had with Daddy Dutch, Chef Johnny, and Uncle Steve, this grand has a little extra meaning to him from the first time he cooked Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
It definitely does,
Do
man.
tell. Do tell.
To qualify for Houston, if you're not one of the established teams that has had a spot for years and years.
Now, let me interrupt for just 1 second. Houston Livestock Show has if I'm not mistaken, has a 10-year waiting list.
Yes, Uncle Steve said that.
for a comp team to get in.
Yep.
So people want in on this.
So you think it's invite only? I would assume then.
Pretty much. You just can't show up, fill out an application, pay an entry fee, and walk in like you can with 99% of the other cook-offs. All these spots are sold. They're owned. They're handed down from father to son to grandson and so on. So that waiting list is ridiculous. So outside of being a hired hand to cook for a team, which I'm not a fan of, Mom and I work hard to create our brand, and we'd rather not go cook for somebody else.
Yep.
So outside of cooking for somebody else, there are several cook-offs out there that you can win that are qualifiers. They will get you a spot at Houston, the American Royale, the Jack Daniels, Memphis in May, Austin Rodeo. I'm probably leaving a few out.
So what do you have to win? Do you have to get a grand or reserve, or do you have to win?
No, it has to be a grand. Has to be a grand.
So if you get the grand at any of those, then you get to. Okay.
Then you get a spot to Houston.
Okay.
So fortunately, like you guys mentioned earlier, we were able to get a grand in 2015 at the San Antonio Rodeo, which gave us an invite to Houston in 2016. And man, at that stage, it was massive. It was massive at that point in our cooking journey. And I remember going to Houston wanting to do well so badly, man, that I completely just overlooked one of the things that I preach to new cooks. When you go to an event, don't try to do too much, man. Just do what you normally do. I remember after the fact, this was after everything had been turned in, that I sat back, nursing my bruised ego, nursing my pride, and looked at what I'd done that day and realized just how far I'd strayed away from what I normally do, adding a little bit extra of everything. And Mama will tell you, man, at the end of the day, I lined the trash can up against the side of my working table and just shoved everything off that table into that trash can. I'm talking about quality meats because I was just so disappointed. And man, one of the great things about being a head cook, that you're responsible for everything, good, bad, and the ugly. And at that day, there was nobody to blame. Nobody to blame. The way they did awards the way they did the finalists at Houston back then, each individual category, they would come. Back then, only Champions Row, those qualifiers were allowed to cook the three meats. All of the other hundreds of teams they had to choose one meat to cook.
Oh.
So they actually came to Champions Row 3 times with those finalist banners to let you know you were a final. And I was not happy with what we turned in, but still in the back of your mind, man, you're hoping, you're praying that you get lucky.
Yep.
And each time they come, man, it'd be a huge an entourage. They got the banners with them, the finalist banners. They open that gate and they walk in, and you're like, please stop at my tent. Chicken. They're hollering, they're hooping, and they walk right past Mom and Papa Joe and go to Iowa Smoky D's, or they go to Tuffy Stone, or to Burnt Bean, Ernest Cervantes.
Yep.
And each time they did that, they made that walk, man, and walk past us. It was like, it was like a stab, a knife to the chest, man. And I suffered that 3 times. And as time passed, I told Mom, I said, Mom, if we ever get another chance to cook Houston, it's going to be a different story. And by different story, I never meant we're going to win it. I never meant we're going to RGC. I just meant that we were going to cook our stuff and get beaten on our best day. So, like you mentioned earlier, man, we were fortunate enough to win San Antonio Rodeo in 2020. And because of COVID, there wasn't a Houston in 2021. So that carried over to 2022. And we went there a couple of weeks ago, man, and we're very happy with our cook. Very happy. So it was the total opposite of 2016. We were thrilled with everything we turned in. And, we just knew, like most times, man, it's a crapshoot. And you just hope you get a little lucky on the judging table. But I always tell students, I said, if you're happy with what you turned in, if you turned in what you set out to turn in, man, that is half the battle.
Yep.
I say you're going to feel so much better as opposed to knowing you turn in something lesser than you planned on. So we were there, and that was already half the battle. This time, the way they did the finalists, because everybody's cooking all three meats, they brought all three finalist banners to your camp at the same time. And Champions Corner, man, your Champions Row, you're hanging out with the best of the best. These guys put in work, won massive grand championships to be sitting on that spot. And we actually thought that brisket was our best shot. So they said we've got the finalist banner. There's, I believe, one finalist banner for brisket. And man, fingers are crossed. They're in my pocket, so I'm hiding them, but they're crossed. And it wasn't us. It wasn't us. I believe it was. I want to say Brad from. What's Brad? Based. What a. I cannot remember the name. Cool guy, man. Awesome guy. But it wasn't us. And then they called the second one. Wasn't us. And the second gentleman had two other banners. And he calls chicken. And man, I hate the fact that they don't say Mama and Papa Joe. They say San Antonio.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That. So he says, and San Antonio, I'm thinking, well, there might be a couple of different people from San Antonio. I mean, my mind is just going crazy. But he said, Clarence Joseph. And at that point, we could have hooked up the trailer, the pit, and I could have headed home because the weekend was complete, man. The weekend was complete. There was just a sense of redemption. The sense of that stink of 2016 being washed off of me with that finalist call. And finalist just means that you made top 10. It doesn't indicate any specific placement.
Okay.
So the gentleman is holding one other banner, man, and he looks away. He did the old look away. Guess he thought he was Magic Johnson or something. And he says, ribs. And boom, man, San Antonio, Clarence Joseph. And wow.
Yep.
Now my mind is blown.
Yeah.
Now my mind is blown. And in the past, because I've only cooked it, this was our second time, I've never paid much attention to what the GCs and the reserve GCs, what kind of placements they had. But as we moved around, man, there were people saying, man, two finalists, that gives you a real chance, to be in one of those top two spots. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, wow. And then it goes back to brisket. Now, all we need to have is a solid brisket. a brisket in that 20th place range, I kept thinking. And because I thought our brisket was our best shot, I really, really felt that our brisket had to be up in that very close to that 20th place. Since it's outside the top 10. And man, when they did the awards, not a fan of how they do their awards. Not a fan of how they do their awards, especially because 7 individuals from each category won't get that recognition up on stage. They only announce the top 3 from each category. So you've got 7 other individuals that they don't get to stand there and get the attaboys from the crowd and from everybody else. But that's a story for somebody else to figure out. They only announced the top 3. We weren't top 3 in any of the 3 categories. But because we had 2 walks, I still held out hope that we would be one of those final 2, man. And they called first place brisket, and now it's time to announce reserve and grand. And I mean, there are only 2, so why not hope that you're that last call? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he announces San Antonio, and for a millisecond, I'm disappointed. And before I can realize I'm disappointed, I am on cloud 9.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Man.
For a millisecond, man, I'm on cloud 9. I want that bow-legged trophy behind me. I hold it.
Show us that. Bring that in. Bring that closer right now. Bring that trophy in. Bring that trophy in, man. Because you were probably
It's heavy. It's heavy.
Yeah, dog. You were probably expecting in the back of your head, Mama and Papa. And next thing you know, you heard San Antonio.
Boom.
Like, damn, and then, oh shit. That's beautiful.
I don't think there's a serious competition cook that doesn't have something, one of these trophies on their bucket list. I'm not one of those. I'm not going to put a grand championship of an event on my bucket list because I know, man, that's so difficult. But a trophy, which would come with a first, a second, or a third, that's a bucket list. One of those bow-legged trophies. I absolutely wanted one of those to add to put into the mix of what we have here at the house. Awesome. So, man,
what a good addition.
At that point, I couldn't ask for anything else. Yeah, I absolutely could not ask for anything else. And the only part that was a downer was that Mama was not there.
Yeah.
To celebrate, man, to get some of these pictures for our memories. But man, it was cool. And the fact, Houston is not like a lot of the cook-offs we do where we know everybody. At Houston, there are just so many cooks that only do 1 or 2 events a year that you don't know. And the way the crowd reacted, a lot of them have seen Mama and Papa Joe's videos. So they kind of know us without personally knowing us. The way they reacted, the way they cheered and whatnot, man, it made it very special. Made it very special.
254 teams, I believe there was. Amazing.
Awesome.
What an amazing job, man.
Yeah.
So congrats once again, brother.
But damn, this is what I'm saying. I'm still looking at the clock. I'm like, shoot.
Sorry that time Chrissy's about to throw spit lawn darts at us.
CJ, we're up against it, but man, thank you so much for taking some time out. I'd love to set something up with you in the near future and talk about what goes on to put on a barbecue class, because I know you actually have one coming up.
Yes.
And from what you were saying, it's a top-notch class. Was it 500 awards given from people who were taking your class?
Yeah, the alumni we started giving our barbecue class in 2015. We had to skip 2021 because of COVID. But the alumni to date, the alumni of this class are going on 500 grand and reserve grand championships. So very effective class. If we have to toot our own horn, very effective class, man. We've got some of the top cooks out there right now, alumni of our class. Granted, they may have taken some classes in addition. We still feel that Mom and Papa Joe has played a significant role. Check us out. We'll be at the Barbecue Depot in the Broncos, April 15th and 16th. If anybody needs any additional information, man, please hit us up. We'll take care of you. You're going to take your game to the next level, I guarantee it. 99% of our students have definitely done that. If you're not able to take the class, go check us out on YouTube, MAMAPAPA. We've got a competition playlist that will get you going. We've got a competition playlist of free videos that will get you going. If that doesn't help, hit me up and ask me what you might need to know, and I will give you the best information that I can.
Awesome.
All right, I'll give you a call later on.
Awesome, CJ. Like I said, thank you so much. It was an honor. You're a true gentleman in the barbecue world, and thank you for everything you've done.
Gentlemen, y'all enjoy it, man. It was an honor. I appreciate the invite. Anytime you guys want to holler at me, feel free.
All right.
Have a good one.
Hang on with us for a minute.
Hang on 1 second. We'll close this out and be right back with you. Awesome.
Amazing, man.
Awesome guy. Awesome.
Great guy. Another great guest. Even better dude in person.
Yep.
And I'm just privileged and humbled to say that I get to share a shot of Courvoisier XO. with that
XO. That's right.
Yes, sir.
But
It was
awesome.
delicious.
Chrissy, hit that music, honey.
Let's go, Chrissy.
Let's roll this out. Well, next week,
That's all, folks. Yep.
we're back with our brothers from Texas BBQ Chapter, the one and only Big Kano
The
will be
Texas
joining
BBQ
us.
Chapter.
That's going to be fun. Kano's, I love
He
Chris.
is.
Chris is great.
I got a chance to rip it up in the dance circle with that guy.
Huh?
He's got some moves.
There you go.
Yep. I'll ask him if we can show a video before the podcast starts. We'll open up a little Kano dance video. We'll see what he says.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this week, folks. We'd like to thank you all for joining us. Catch the podcast audio wherever podcasts are found. Catch the video on Facebook and YouTube. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button, notification bell. We have all our episodes right there at your fingertips. On social media, check us out at all the links down below. Questions or comments, please send them to Pit Life BBQ Podcast at gmail.com. And like always, please subscribe, like, rate, and review. Hit
Yes,
that
sir.
share button.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
Till next week,
Keep the smoke rolling.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.